Well, it hadn't been the best of days. The first thing this morning that happened, my wife pointed out that the men who are remodeling our master bathroom put the seat on the wrong side of the shower. And so now when we're sitting in the shower is going to be pointing right at our faces, and there's nothing we can do about that now. It's done. Then this afternoon, Moodle died, and I couldn't do any more work on Moodle, and the college is still working on that, the last I heard. And then shortly after that, my laptop died and stopped cooperating, and I got the blue screen of death. So I'm doing the only thing I know to do in the face of this kind of adversity. I'm eating potato chips. This bag was full when I started 15 minutes ago. Well, hello, History 338. Now, last week I didn't have a video for you. Instead, I watched a video on how to do effective screencasts. There were 12 tips for effective screencasts, and what I learned from watching that video was I was violating all 12 of the rules. So I didn't make a video last week. I had noticed that the week before, when I made a video that I was particularly proud of, only 12 of you, 12 out of 27 students, actually watched the video. So that was on my mind too. Why am I knocking myself out making these videos when people aren't going to watch them? How come you didn't watch my video where I recommended another great 60s movie called The Great Lebowski? Was it because that video didn't have any cheesy music? In fact, one of the tips for making effective screencasts was to go for the cheesiest music you can find. So that's what I'm going to do on this film and see if you like it any better. This week, I've got a reminder about grading and an announcement to make about our final class meeting. The announcement on grading is primarily for those of you who are doing the coursework option. The deal that I struck with you was that if you do all of the coursework, point paragraphs, etc., through the end of the course, I would engage with that material with you as best I can and give you an A. And I'm going to keep to that promise that you need to continue to do the coursework until you have a total of 40 points for coursework, or until the course ends, whichever comes first. Here's an announcement. I've been rolling this idea around in my head, and I think I want to do this. Since I miss you guys a lot, why don't we try to have one last class meeting using Google Meet? I propose that we meet as a class synchronously all at the same time using Google Meet on Friday, the last day of class. That will be May 15th. And let's just use our normal class period as if we were meeting face-to-face in the John Deere Hall Auditorium. That would be Friday, May 15th at 10 o'clock. We'll log into Google Meet and have one last class meeting. I'll have some things to say about the 1960s. And in addition, I'd like to hear from you and your response to this prompt. 10 years from now, what I hope to remember from this course on the 1960s is... Give some thought to that. 10 years from now, what I hope to remember from this course on the 60s is... And we'll go around and share one by one our response to that prompt. Secondly, I'd like you to pick out a quotation from something you read this term that was meaningful to you and that you'd like to remember. A quotation could be from the historians Isserman and Kazin, could be from one of our memoirists, could be from a primary document. If you don't like that idea, and especially if you're working on one of the research papers about family members in the 60s, I'd like you to bring a passage from your writing, not longer than 2 minutes long, that would be the max. A short passage of writing that's meaningful to you, and read that out loud to all of us. I think that'd be really great to hear from your research projects on the 60s. So, either a quotation that was meaningful to you, or a piece of your own writing that expresses something important you learned about your interviewees. Well, that's all I have to say for this week. Oh, a film recommendation. If you're like me, you've watched a lot of movies in the last month and a half. In fact, my family and I finished Netflix last night. That's right, we've watched every single movie on Netflix now, and so we're going to turn our attention to Hulu or Amazon Prime and see what we can find there next. There was one last movie on Netflix. I didn't really want to watch it, but my wife had been trying to get me to watch this movie for a long time. And it's a movie about the 60s, although I didn't know it. I just had heard that this movie was kind of cheesy and full of cliches and cloyingly sweet, and I didn't want to watch it for that reason. But it turned out to be a really pretty good movie about a moment in time in 1971, totally consistent with themes in our course. Here's the trailer to Remember the Titans.
Not anymore, though, is it? No, it's not fun anymore. Not even a little bit. Zero concern. The school board made the decision to put you on my staff. I did not hire you. Well, I came up here to coach you. I didn't have to be assigned to your staff, so I guess we're both in a situation we don't want to be in. But I can guarantee you this, coach. Each one of you will spend time every day with a different teammate. Does the term cruel and unusual punishment mean anything to you? If you lose a game, they'll find you. One game, just like that. Don't you know me and your mama? Well, you were down. What do you say? How do you? Man, I just gave your mama. She weighs twice as much as I do. We want to let you know what's different tonight. We're going to let these people know who's going to win the state, right? Greek mythology, the Titans were greater even than the gods. We're going to change the way we run. They ruled their universe with absolute feel out there tonight. That's our universe. We're gonna change the way we win. You don't let anything, nothing, come between us.
So, Remember the Titans. I recommend it as a really good movie about the 1960s. Got one of the best music soundtracks of any movie about the 60s I've ever seen. It's not the best movie about the 60s, but it's a really good one, and I was laughing and cheering and, yeah, a little bit of crying by the very end of the film. What's the best movie of the 60s? I am prepared to announce the name of that movie on our last day of class, when I see you on Google Meets, Friday, May 15th. On the last day of class, I will tell you what is the best movie from the 1960s, if I think you're worthy. That's it for today. I'll see you next week in week 14 of quarantine.